What's up, YouTube? We're back in the paint booth, as always. This is my home away from home. I'm gonna walk you guys through a really simple job today. I have like a 2016 Toyota Prius, bumper cover replacement, blends on the fender and door. We're just gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna guide you guys through spraying some Waterborne base coat and some tips and tricks on like how to blend it, how to make sure it's ready for clear coat, a couple of tricks with that. And yeah, we're just gonna keep it super simple. So buckle up, let's go ahead, and I'm gonna go mix some sealer up, get this bumper sealed, and we'll get right into the job. All right guys, so I have sealer loaded up in my gun. As you can see, I just sprayed a bunch of white sealer as well. But I have dark gray, because this color is legitimately just dark gray. And I'm gonna just go ahead and do a coat of sealer on this bumper cover. I'm only gonna need a coat of this. I'm gonna spray it pretty wet. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. I gotta tack rag this first. And I'm using 3300 GTO from Segola. Set at about 26 PSI. And a 1.3. Get this bumper all tacked up. All right, so when I spray bumper covers, I like to do all of my edges first. And this one, there's a lot of edges, so let's go ahead. And I get questions all the time about what is sealer? Why do you want to use sealer on new parts? And sealer serves quite a few purposes. Sealer is, think of it like a wet on wet primer. That's what it's known throughout the world as. In the States we call it sealer, but basically it's a coat of primer that gives the bumper some cushion so it doesn't chip as easy. And the second function is it serves as a ground color. So a lot of these modern cars are pretty dang transparent, and in order to match the finishes on them, we need to make the same repairs look the same. You know what I mean? Like, God, that was kind of confusing. In order to do repairs on them, we need to have the same kind of undertones and be able to color match, because a lot of times you're not going for necessarily coverage, we call it hiding. And what hiding simply is just your ground layer hides within your color layer, and that's how you get your color mix. I know that seems pretty complicated. It's really not in practice. But like I said, I'm just doing a single coat of this sealer on this cover. And you can already tell, if you can see through the plastic on that vehicle, that this is pretty dang close to what the color of the car is. If I'd have just thrown some pearl in it, I could clear it and be done. But yeah, essentially, this sealer I use kind of a fast reducer when I'm doing just bumper covers like this, because I want to be able to get in here and get this base coated in a timely fashion. I'll bring you guys in and show you how smooth this is. This cover, it's an aftermarket cover. She's kind of not perfect, but that's okay. It is what it is. I will bring you guys in so you can see how smooth this sealer is. The smoother you lay this sealer down, the smoother your base coat's gonna lay down. Keep that in mind when you're spraying sealer. You can also, what a lot of guys at home do, and what I've done in the past plenty of times, is to save money or to keep it simple, you can use epoxy primer, a little bit over reduced as a sealer. When you do this, the benefit of epoxy primer is if you're spraying a metal part and it has a bunch of bare metal, epoxy primer is perfect for corrosion protection on things like that. Things like this is a urethane sealer. So over bare metal, this is rated for up to 5 inches. So anything more than 5 inches, I need to either use epoxy, edge prime it and prime it, or use something that's direct to metal. Yeah, let's just go ahead and bring you guys in here. and show you what this sealer looks like. All right, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Just a smooth coat of sealer. It's still pretty glossy. This is gonna dull up just a little bit, and then we'll get some base coat on it. I'm not gonna worry too much about sealing that door repair. I've finished that in 800 grit, so I'm gonna use base coat blender as a wet bed right over my repair, and then I'll get into base. All right, I'm gonna make a really quick section about color matching. You can see this one, I have color sprayed out on it. This is a field variant that, by judging the chips, this sounded like it was gonna match. It didn't, but I'm still gonna keep this, label it, and store it in my cabinet. You can see this is just a simple gray card. According to the paint chips and samples that I have, the lighter variant of this color is about as blendable as I am going to find. So what I'm going to do is, while I'm spraying, I'm going to make a spray out card at the same time. If I need to adjust, I'll be able to check it, as well as I can put this in my cabinet. What I'm going to do, because I did mix up that field variant, I have it right here loaded in the gun, is my first coat on this bumper cover is going to be this color. I don't want to waste this, so I'm going to do like my first brown coat of color on the bumper with that. This is the variant that I'm going to use on my blends and on my spray out card, and this is the lighter variant, and we'll check it, see what it looks like. Really, I'm just going for blendable because this car is absolutely hammered, and as long as all of my blends look beautiful, I'm going to be happy with that. So we'll do that at some point in this video as well. All right, guys, so I'm going to set this Segola to 22 psi. Keep in mind, this is the aqua cap. It likes lower pressure. Might need to hook up to air. Yeah, there's 22 dialed in. And like I said, this is that field variant that I'm going to use just as a ground color. So I'm going to go ahead and get a single coat on this. And when I say ground color, all that means is it's going to take less base coat to now cover over top of this with the correct color. So rather than just doing a spray out, not using the color and throwing it down the drain, I am going to use it, so then it's not wasted and everybody's happy, because it's my job to make sure that my paint usage stays down. And yeah, so that's why I do that. I don't know if you guys could see this on video. Let me zoom you guys in just a little bit here. All right, I don't know if you guys could see this or not, how big this fan pattern is. It's not huge. And honestly, I'm okay with that, because this thing covers, I mean, so well. It just sprays Waterborne base exactly how I need it to spray, which is wet. And this base coat can be sprayed wet on wet, so I could do 2 coverage coats, one over the other, but because I am using a ground color, I'm all out of that now. Here's a neat trick: if you use these, squeeze them, lock it in, and it's gonna push all of that paint out. So now I can just easily swap over to my new correct color with no mess. Now we're good. And you might see a color difference here, that's all right. I'm going to do 2 coats on this bumper cover, and this will completely cover that. So let's get over here. I'm going to show you guys how to start blending out this Waterborne base coat. All right, guys, with any Waterborne base coat that I've ever sprayed, on blends, I will use this as clear base coat. It's just a blender. It's just going to act as what we call a wet bed. It's going to give my pearls and metallic something wet to land in, so they're not going to stand up and basically show my blend. Tack rag this thing first. This also serves a second purpose, because if there's any kind of sand scratch that you missed that might be, say, 600 grit, this will fill it and you'll be all right. You won't have that scratch coming through, or it'll show you so you could fix it before you get color on it. But as I previously stated, this is all 800 grit and gray Scotch Brite, so it's really fine prep. And yeah, I do a coat on the entire thing. You can see it's blue. It dries perfectly clear. All right, now with that still wet, I'm gonna blow a little bit of air over my repair where I'm gonna spray my color just to start the drying process. I don't want the blender to dry completely around it. So now I'm going to just blend my color out. You'll see my technique as I do it. You can see how fast Waterborne Basecoat covers. And I'm doing a 75% overlap. And because I'm doing a bumper cover as well, I'm going to do just some paint on the front edge of the fender, so I know that at least on this side where I'm at, my color is going to match. All right, so a really neat tool that honestly I think every painter should have in their arsenal is one of these fan jet blowers. These are made by Wacom. They're like 60 to 80 bucks. I've had mine probably 3 years now, but for drying base coat, using it as kind of a blowgun to tack rag new panels, dude, these are so clutch. Waterborne base coat, all you really need to do is blow air across the panel and it'll pull the water out of it, what we call dehydrating. And that's what I'm gonna do right now. So you guys will see as this dries, all of that water evaporating. And as I mentioned, I'm gonna point it down the panel so it rolls the air across and dehydrates. If you point it straight at it, what you end up doing is you can move metallic. And that messes with your color, and it's just not smart. So blow it across the panel if you're going to do this. This also works fantastic for solvent base coat, and the same rule applies. Blow it across the panel. All right, and that's what you want. You see how that's nice and dull? That's fully dehydrated. There's no more water left in that, so I'm ready for my second coat. And just judging off looking at this panel, this color is pretty damn close. It's blending out great. So I will bring you guys in. I'm gonna do my spray out here in a minute. Check the other side. But as far as this side goes, this is looking great. It's blending out. And the reason I'm not too fussed about doing my spray out right now while I'm spraying this is, say I need to adjust my color, it's not a big deal, because the only reason I'm gonna need to adjust it, if at all, is for that bumper to match that other fender and the hood. And at the end of the day, all I need to do is blend this edge if I need to adjust it. All of this can stay the same. You won't be able to tell the difference. So let's go ahead, get a second coat on this repair, get it blended out, and then we'll get onto that bumper and do a second coat on that. All right, so I figured I'll show you real quick how I spray my spray out cards. This is a metal spray out card. It's literally stuck on here with a magnet. But when you make a card, spray it wet just like you would spray your panel, all right? So I'm gonna put my hood down, go ahead and make this. I'm just gonna do one coat. I sprayed it just like I would spray the panel. I'm gonna stick this back to the wall. I'll dehydrate this in a minute, do another coat, dehydrate that, do a control coat, and then we'll check it versus that other side. And as I stated before, this color is going to cover that ground, that field that we didn't want, the field variant. It's going to cover that now. It's not going to show through. that just provided us our first coat of hiding. Like I said, guys, if you're going to spray waterborne base coats, like if you're in a body shop, spray them wet. That's where a lot of guys go wrong. They spray them incredibly dry, and then they complain that their coverage isn't that great. They're literally designed to be sprayed wet. Whenever you go through training, that's like the biggest thing is, oh, spray it wetter, wetter, wetter. And it tripped me out when I first started, but now it's just second nature. All right. There we go. That's 2 coats. Once these 2 dehydrate, all I need to do at this point is control coat them. I will do another coat of clear base coat on that door and fender. Again, just to have something wet for my pearl and metallic to land in. But really, I'm really close to being done. And I've literally been in the booth 10 minutes. So I'm almost done with my base coat. So if you think waterborne base coat versus solvent, solvent might be a little bit faster, especially if you blow some air over it and get it to release some solvents. But water is right there with speed, especially if you double coverage coat this, and then you just stand up a blower stand with those little fan jet blowers. You can walk away and it dehydrates it while you're off doing something else. So waterborne's pretty cool stuff. All right, you guys, so I finished my spray out. As you can see, this is just in base coat. I can clear this and check my color, but I kind of need to do this on the fly. So what I have in this pressurized sprayer is VMP Naphtha. If you've ever seen the lime green cans of Color Checker, this is all it is. It's just naphtha. You can buy this for 20 bucks a gallon, put it in one of these, and it'll last you months. What this is going to do is be a gloss, like a pretend clear coat, basically. But what I'm going to do is spray a little bit on the hood, because this is really where that bumper it sits, right at the front of this hood. So I'm going to spray a little bit on the hood to fill in any swirls or scratches on it so I can see the color correctly. Spray a little bit on this. And then I have, this is my Sato True Sun. This is a color checking light. It goes up in brightness, goes down in brightness, and it's true to sunlight. So that's going to give me an accurate representation of how my match looks. Now, I'm not looking for perfection, because in this field, you're never going to find spot on color. It'll be dang close, but perfection is never the goal. I need blendable and I need acceptable color. So if you've ever seen any of these bumper covers, they never match 100% from the factory. I just want to be within that ballpark. So let's go ahead. I'm going to spray some on here, just like so. And I will spray some on this card. And I'll bring you guys in so we can see the color match. All right, so I realize this is going to be extremely hard for you to tell on camera, but I'm going to do my best. We'll do it without the light to start. Okay. This is pretty damn close. Hit it with the light. Can you guys tell? I'm happy with that. That is acceptable for blends and for a bumper cover, in my honest opinion. So I'm going to go ahead, dry this, tape this section back up, and we'll get into my control coats. And then I'll clear coat this card as well and save it for later. All right, guys, so now we're ready for our control coat. I'm going to do one coat of wet bed, and then any of this that I have left over, I'm actually going to put into my cup with my regular base coat. This is just clear base coat. What that's going to do is just stretch out that color just a little bit further. Since I just have to basically do a dust coat on this to be done, it works out perfect. So let's go ahead and do one more coat of this, and then we'll control coat. And I'm not going to go over my repair, just the ends. Quickly. That's it. That's all I need. All right, so like I said, I just dumped that clear base coat into this. It just stretches it out, gives me more, and essentially it'll make this a little bit more transparent, which is okay for a control coat. I'm going to turn my pressure down just about 1 pound, so 21 to 20, about like that, and do a control coat. All this is I'm just setting my metallics and pearls and laying them down smooth. So I'll show you that. And I'm about a foot to a foot and a half away. So a foot to a foot and a half away, and then just laying your pearls down. And you don't want to rush this, guys. I can't reiterate that enough. If you want your blends to be on point, take your time with the control coat. It only benefits you. And that's it. That's job done. I'm going to go do the bumper cover now, and we'll be out of here ready for clear coat. All right, same thing. I'm just going to control coat this quickly. 75% overlap, just taking my time, making sure all of this lays down smooth. And notice that I'm not rushing. This is all, I take my time. Okay, one last little section here. All right, that's it. That's my control coat done. At this point, I am not going to use that little fan blower for the simple fact that I don't want any of these metallics to shift. So I'm going to go to lunch actually, and then when I get back, all of this is going to be ready for clear coat. So I'll see you in just a minute, and we'll talk clear coat and get this job done. All right, guys, that's base coat all dry. What you're looking for when you're done with base coat is silky smooth, especially with Waterborne, just like that. See how smooth that base coat looks? That's what you want. Here's our blend panel. Silky smooth. Don't mind the little bit of glossiness right here. And remember, that's our base coat blender. That looks really good. A real quick trick to know if your base coat is ready for clear coat, you could take your thumb in an inconspicuous spot, so say in here, put your thumb down and twist. If that base coat moves, it's not ready for clear. If it doesn't, go ahead and clear it. All right, guys, so now we're ready for clear coat. I have, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, 4600 1.2 Titania Pro Air Cap. 2 coats, that's all we're gonna do. And then I'll bring you guys in when this is done and baked, unmasked, and we'll have a look at it all right? So let's get into it. And a 75% overlap.
If you're wondering what that yellow thing is on the right, that is a microfiber that's protecting my camera from overspray. I didn't notice it when I set my camera up, so don't mind that.
All right, that's my first coat done on that. Let's go get some on the bumper. All right, let's get a coat on this. And I do have my fluid wound in about a turn and a half, because even with a 1.2, this thing is really fast. So that kind of gives me a little bit more control over where this is going.
Okay, so when I say that this spray gun is fast, I mean it's fast. If you load this thing with a 1.3 and that Titania Pro cap, you better be ready to move, because it lays down material quicker than any other gun that I own. But here's the thing, I would rather slow down a really fast gun than be miserable spraying a really slow gun.
Alright guys, so I'm going to give that about 10-15 minutes to tack up, and then we'll hammer a second coat on, and that's the job done. Alright guys, we're ready for a second coat. Let's go ahead and get that on there.
Okay, so I didn't find it necessary to include the footage spraying a second coat on this bumper cover because it's the same as the first. I sprayed a little bit wetter than my first, and that's it. I mean, there's nothing.
There we go, that's it. My second coat, I'm typically laying just a hair heavier than my first coat. I want this to really flow and level out, so I'm gonna let this do that, and I'll bring you guys in right before I hit the bake cycle.
All right, and here's the final product. Like I said, 2 coats of DC 5020, and it laid out super smooth.
All right, guys, that's job done. Like I said before, this was paint code 8V1 from Toyota. My blends came out great. Clear looks super smooth. I baked this clear for about 25 minutes at 140 degrees. And she's ready to go back over to body side. So I'm gonna evacuate this whole booth. Let me show you the length of this thing. Can you guys see that? So I got one more car to unmask, and then my job's done for the day. If you guys haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. If you guys want to be notified about when I drop new videos, make sure to hit that little bell. Your app will let you know that, hey, he's got a new video out. I'm going to be releasing videos every Friday at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. That's my goal. I'm going to release a video every single week. Same time, I'm just going to get my edits done and pre-schedule them. So I hope you guys are enjoying this content. I hope you guys are learning something. And if there's anything that you guys want to see, please get down in the comment section, leave me a comment. It helps me immensely to know what kind of content you guys want to see. So from spray gun reviews to application and technique to maybe some masking videos, things like that, just let me know. So I guess until next Friday, I'll see you later.